This story begins with a boy named Leopin who has just gotten his stats, and they are, well, not great. All of his skills are at a small first level, and he doesn't have any cool abilities, like many of us struggling economically. But now, let's go back in time a bit. The Royal Pioneer Academy, a newly established educational institution in the League 8 Kingdom, had the purpose of nurturing pioneers. It was the academy that only had outstanding individuals because wealthy aristocrats enrolled every year, and the supporters had high hopes for the academy. Then the headmaster appeared, introduced himself as the first-generation headmaster, Nico Duren, and began the ceremony of awakening the abilities. He stated that they would achieve amazing successes that would bring them a lot of money. Just at this time, Leopin, a freshman in class 20, felt that his life in the academy was about to begin. Our hero felt that other freshmen could do as well, that he believed in himself and decided to give his best effort. Suddenly, a man started the ceremony by introducing himself as a yes man and continued with the announcements. He told everyone to come up on stage when their name would be called and put their hands on the goddess statue so that their stats could appear on the crystal ball. When Leopin was wondering that his class was the last one to complete the ceremony, Weiss interrupted him by saying that he couldn't wait to see the results and wondered what their status would be. Leopin said he was quite nervous as he was average in both sports and academics, and in the first place, he only got into the ceremony because he was supported with his dexterity. But Weiss told him that there was no way they wouldn't be able to make it and showed him the lucky charm made by Leopin for everyone after the victory. Suddenly, everyone joined them and started praising him for his crafts, as all the designs were the same and stated that it suited all of them very much. Just that, and Weiss commented that if Leopin was in their class, there was no doubt they would be number one. Leopin contemplated that even after they got into high school, they would be friends forever, and thought that if he was with his friends, he would definitely get through it, and Weiss told him that they would be friends forever. Lastly, it was Class 20's turn, and the yes man announced Weiss first. He went on the stage and touched the goddess statue, and his skills appeared. His profession was a sage, and his level was high, with 1000 HP and MP, as well as 100 in all other stats, life, persistence, strength, agility, focus, etc. By seeing that Weiss was in a senior position, everyone got shocked and started saying that his skills were godly. The yes man in principle also stated it was marvelous, and that now they didn't have to worry about the money. Everyone was praising Weiss, but he said it was too early to be surprised and told them he was not the only strong person in Class 20 and invited the person recommended by his amazing friends, Leopin. He called him a dexterous person and showed his necklace, which was a friendship symbol made by Leopin for all his classmates. He stated that with the necklace, their friendship would last forever. Leopin contemplated that his friends were with him, and their friendship would never waver, and they would be forever friends. He touched the statue and his skills appeared, showing him as a jack of all trades, master of none. His HP and MP were 10, and his other stats showed no growth except for dexterity, which was 2000. Weiss called his skills trashy and crushed the necklace with his feet, leaving Leopin shocked to see it. Then he started announcing to introduce the next strong person recommended by his amazing friends. Leopin tried to talk, but he got kicked out by Monson and he understood that this was shit. Just then, the yes man started the announcement and said that it seemed like there was some trash mixed together with them, but that had passed out. He continued by saying that the starting kit for each profession had been provided, so they were going to look at the ranking of each class. But Weiss chided in and asked him to hold on, as he had a suggestion before the ranking. He told him that Class 20 wanted to have a class trial to exile a student. A class trial of exile was a political system where the student who received the most votes within the class would get exiled, and the exiled student would get transferred to a special training class. Weiss was trying to raise his class rankings by getting rid of Leopin, as he thought it was important to get rid of trash earlier. Also, it was the first time someone was using it during the school ceremony. Then, the voting started, and it was decided within the first round that Leopin had been transferred to the special training class. When they were done with this, the rankings were announced and appeared on the board. The first year Class 11 was on top, and Class 2 with Goddess Reincarnation Miss Monica was in second place, while Class 20 was in the 5th place. Weiss got frustrated and started wondering how they still got 5th place after getting rid of the huge trash, because of the other smaller trash's abilities being too low. And just with that, the yes man added that he had good news, that in honor of the holy debut of Miss Monica, the prominent saint family had announced that the first student who received Miss Monica's first healing would get a reward of 10 million yen. Everyone got shocked and found out they would make a huge difference between classes just by getting that reward. Weiss felt relaxed and thought that the reward was definitely for him, and decided that he would get both the money and the woman. Leopin also heard the statement and felt that it didn't mean anything to him. Just then, a girl came to him and asked if he remembered her and introduced herself as Monaco. She told him they were in the same class in elementary school. Leopin got surprised and asked if somehow she was that crybaby Monica. She said that she was no longer a crybaby, and in return, he told her that now he could see that she wasn't a crybaby, and she had grown up to be a better person. Monica felt happy and asked him to look after her as they didn't go to the same middle school, but now they were in the same high school together. Suddenly, she saw that his cheek was not all right, so she asked him what Leopin told her, that he always had slight injuries like that if she remembers. She nodded yes and thought that he always protected her. She told him that she wanted to treat his injury and asked him to stay still. She touched his cheek and started healing. Just a few seconds later, Leopin was amazed that it had turned to normal and seemed happy. Monica asked him how her first healing was, but soon they felt everyone turned quiet so suddenly. Everyone got shocked as for the Monica, whom they admired so much, had given her first healing to Leopin, who they considered garbage. Weiss got frustrated that why would she heal someone like Leopin, and others in the group started asking him why they would exile him so early, as if he was still in the class. They would have already gotten 10 million yen. They asked Weiss to take responsibility and canceled the exile. Weiss asked them to shut up as they also agreed to the exile, and told them that now they couldn't cancel the exile as it had already been decided. Suddenly, two girls appeared in front of Monica, named Miss Onzuko and Miss Shinokubo. Onzuko started to tell Monica that a saint's first healing was very important and is said to contain blessings. She asked Monica why she had given it to the horsebone-looking person. Shinokubo chided and said it was true, as there were many people out there who were willing to give her a treasure full of money just to get her first healing. She stated the situation was extremely ridiculous. Giving it to someone who looked like flavorless horsebone was absolutely absurd. Monica stopped both of them and told them that he was not a horsebone, but for her, he was a white horse. Both the girls took her away from Leopin and asked her to be careful in the future. Yes, Man hid the slip and told everyone that Monica's reward was just an example. He also said that daily lives in the academy were broadcasted live and asked them to behave in a dignified manner. The principal interrupted him and took the mic and told everyone that all he wanted was a gold circle. A student who could continue to earn money was an excellent student, and a student who couldn't earn money was a failure. If someone was like that, you would step on him without any mercy and ask them to prepare themselves. He gave the mic to Yes Man, and he told everyone that after the ceremony, they had a buffet party with the capital's finest food. But obviously, they didn't have the food for the special training class, and asked Leopin to leave immediately. Leopin left the ceremony immediately and found out that, just like the rumors, the academy was surrounded by nothing. In the Pioneer Academy, the students began their independent life after the entrance ceremony. There were no dorms or school food, and from now on, they would have to work with their classmates or even other classmates in order to survive. Yet, he was alone there. Then he started wondering why he didn't have any occupation, and somehow only his dexterity had high stat points that he didn't understand at all. He started reading his main skill, which was Jack of all trades, eat dexterous body, dexterous growth, dexterous career, and got to know that he hadn't learned this in middle school. He decided to check some stuff by exchanging dexterity for life, and noticed that there was a change in HP, which became 1010. After all, he decided to try it one more time, and again noticed that there was a change in stats, and felt amazing. Suddenly, he heard someone's voice like they ate a lot, but it seemed that no one was around. But he also heard that someone was saying that, look over there was a renowned trash. Since they were full, they decided to play a game as a light exercise. The one who made him scared by the bow would win. Leopin couldn't understand where the voices were coming from. A boy shot an arrow towards him, but suddenly he noticed that, and stopped and held the arrow with his hands. The boys watching through a telescope were shocked at how he caught the arrow with his hands, as he was not a martial arts master or something. This made Leopin furious, and he threw the arrow back to the boys as payback. The arrow hit the wall behind the boys, and the boys got scared, wondering how he threw the arrow back unless he had bows and arrow skills from such a long distance. Then he felt his power, and thanked upgrading his 5 senses. His vision and hearing got sharper, and he was thankful for upgrading his muscle strength. He could throw the arrow farther than with a bow. He also thanked for upgrading his agility. His movement got sharper, and also he thanked for upgrading his focus. He was able to hit target without a millimeter off the mark. He felt like his body wasn't his body anymore, but it felt like his finger sensation got weaker. but he knew it would be back if he got his dexterity still up. He felt amazing, as with this skill, he could do anything. Now he was curious about other skills, and was confused while choosing which one he should choose. But just then, he heard a boy's voice saying to start building a village by sourcing the materials, as if they didn't finish building their house before night, they would have to sleep with nature. Then he understood that living there was his first priority, so he chose his first occupation as a ranger, and he also got a passive skill that granted benefits just by possessing it, even if he didn't use it. So he decided to make a weapon, and thought that a knife and an axe should be enough. He started looking for a stone which was strong and sharp enough to crack things open, and guessed that size and shape should be taken into account as well. The boys mocked him by saying that what the garbage was doing there was like looking for a stone, and that he ignored them by saying do whatever they wanted. Just then, he found the stone and started rubbing it until it became a knife, and it seemed like it was cut perfectly. Then he tied another wood with the stone, and his stone axe was completed. Then he noticed that he hadn't done much though, but his handiness went up by 100, and he thought that all the time status leveled up by 5 at most, but he was pretty sure that this would come in handy during survival. Then he changed his occupation from ranger to appraiser, and decided to see how much that axe was worth. He felt that it was a number of times better, even though it was a stone axe. The other boys around him were making fun of him for being excited over a stone axe, and said that he probably wouldn't pee after seeing a fire being lit up. But Leopin decided not to keep getting picked on by them, and changed his occupation from appraiser to lumberjack. The other boys were making fun of him as he was going to cut a tree as big as that with a stone axe. But he used his occupational skill and cut down the tree with a single swing. Everyone got shocked at how he logged down the tree when logging a slim tree was hard even for them. After that, Leopin changed his occupation again to wood planks so it became easier to move. But he was disrupted by other boys who were saying that that tree wasn't good for him, and they would use it better. They asked him to get out of there, but Leopin advised them to stop as supporters were watching too. But the boys replied that hurting a mere bug from the special training class wouldn't lower his reputation, and they would be happy to see it. But Leopin explained to them that's not what he meant. He just thought that the guys didn't want to feel embarrassed in front of supporters just after the entrancee ceremony. The other boys got furious, and they started running towards him to beat him up, saying that why would they ignite Los against someone who had no occupation? Then suddenly, Leopin changed his occupation to axe battler and used weapon building and became a professional axe user. The other boys couldn't understand what just happened there, and they lost the battle to Leopin. They started talking about their classes, but Leopin told them that he didn't care. At last, after losing the battle to Leopin, they said sorry and ran away. He noticed that he just leveled up and got a new occupation again. He felt that he got the right occupation at the right time and decided to make a house. Since his occupation had changed to a carpenter, he started building a house. But he suddenly noticed that the amount of wood he collected wasn't enough, so he made a cart out of gis, which would carry 5 times more weight than an average cart. He heard that a girl was asking for more wood, and also learned that every class had a designated area. He started finding his area, but couldn't find it until he was sure that his 5 senses and vision had increased. Then, he saw a garbage disposal for a special training class board in the forest. His designated area was far from the student residency. Now, even though he had been crafting items since he was young, building a house was still foreign to him. But he activated his build skill, as he was a jack of all trades and could do anything. It was fascinating for him as he was able to build a wagon and a stone axe. He had cut down lots of trees and was now building his own house. He even fought with 3 warriors, yet he didn't feel a single ounce of fatigue. He guessed that he was just kind of invincible when his endurance stat reached 200. After all, he successfully made a house, and he felt that it was pretty good for the first time. It was a 2-story house made from high-quality wood named after geese due to multiple bonuses, making it resistant to earthquakes, fire, and corrosion. While he was praising his house, Monica came and admired his home. She asked him if he made that house, and he replied that the house was made by him. This surprised Monica as it wasn't even past noon, and she told him that the fact he was able to build an amazing house before afternoon was truly incredible. Then he asked her if she liked it that much, and if she wanted him to build a house for her. She asked if it was okay for him, and he replied, "Of course," and asked her to wait for a bit so he could gather all the necessary materials. Meanwhile, in the Royal Pioneer Academy student's principal's office, both the principal and his yes-man were frustrated and couldn't believe that Leopin was Monica's childhood friend.